SignatureBank.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I don't know if our next guest, Bryan Steil, was able to make it, but Comrade Bernie is doing Stop Oligarchy rallies around the country. He was in Kenosha this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's exciting. He's drawing crowds. He is drawing crowds. This was the musical act in Kenosha. A band called Against Me, fronted by a trans person, apparently, who goes by Laura Jane Grace, formerly known as Tom Gable.
Okay.
So Tom is now Laura. And I don't even know if you'll get the gist because we have to bleep it so much to play it on the air. This was apparently Comrade Bernie's new theme song. Talking about a song about God's junk and what he does with it. That's the opener for Comrade Bernie? I mean, is that really popular in Kenosha? Let's find out. Bryan Steil, congressman from Wisconsin 1, joins us. Bryan, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Did you get a chance to meet Against Me and the band over the weekend? Or?
Well, this just shows you how absolutely radical the left is. They came and did a rally in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in the 1st Congressional District that I have an opportunity to represent, in absolutely disgusting lyrics by the musical act that they chose to put on stage. I mean, the listeners that you just had can barely understand how disgusting those lyrics are because you have to bleep it to maintain your license to broadcast.
Yeah, I don't want Brendan Carr coming after us. Yeah.
If you go online and you listen to the song and you are not disgusted, I don't know what's wrong with you. And of course, this was the musical act that Bernie Sanders and the radical left played at their rally in Wisconsin. And at the end of the day, this is all about them trying to turn out the vote for a really important Wisconsin Supreme Court case or Supreme Court race. And if anything, this should remind everyone in the state of Wisconsin what will happen if we allow the liberals to maintain control in our Supreme Court and how important it is to get out and vote for Brad Schimmel.
Well,
go ahead. Well, do you think Bernie Sanders didn't properly vet this band? Or he just saw a transgender that was a lead singer and thought, this will be good. This will promote our message.
I think he was playing bass. Comrade Bernie was on the bass.
He or his team. When I saw this, I went on and just Googled it because I thought, there's no way it is as bad as I have just been told. And this is the number one song of the artist. It's absolutely disgusting. And then he went on stage and thanked the artist for performing the song. So after these horrific lyrics were said, it was not as if he got up and said, I apologize for the bad words, apologize in particular for any young children in the audience who had to just hear that. No, he said, thank you for playing the music for our fans here. So he is all in, as is the radical left, thinking that talking about the Lord Savior in this manner at a public forum is okay. It just shows you how absolutely disconnected from reality the radical left is, and their tour that they took to Kenosha, Wisconsin continues across the United States.
Yeah, I don't know how well that act is going to be received in other locales, but or how well it was received, frankly, in the larger Kenosha area, and when people start hearing about it who are not dyed-in-the-wool communists that would attend that rally. But let's talk about oligarchs, since Comrade Bernie wants to stop them. He doesn't want to stop George Soros, who gave $1 million to the Democrat Party in January. He doesn't want to stop J.B. Pritzker, who gave $500,000. He doesn't want to stop Reid Hoffman, who gave $250,000. Now, there are big-time donors on the Republican side in this race, too. But on our side, we don't pretend that we don't have big-time donors and that we don't need big-time donors. Their side just pretends.
In particular, what has happened in the state of Wisconsin is the Democratic Party has consistently gotten mega donors, including, as you noted, George Soros and J.B. Pritzker, who put in $500,000 here, $1 million there into electing Democrats in the state of Wisconsin. And for the first time, it feels the Republican Party is starting to catch up to the game of the Democrats. And at least on TV, this race is far closer to even than previous Wisconsin Supreme Court races have been. But I think the Republicans and conservatives are waking up, not just in Wisconsin, but across the country, about the absolute importance of this race in the state of Wisconsin to make sure that we're able to continue President Trump's agenda and to make sure that the radical left doesn't find sneaky ways to get an upper hand to try to remove President Trump from office or to remove Republicans from office or to prevent Republicans from being elected in the first place as they attack election integrity.
Well, we talked with Senator Ron Johnson about this last week, but and this is an April 1st election. Schimmel, the former AG, is the Republican candidate for Wisconsin State Supreme Court. But give us, connect the dots for us. So, and why is this a national race? All the national money coming in. Why is this as important as you're describing in terms of, the outcome potentially impacting the Trump agenda? Why should people being pay attention? Why should people who are on the Illinois side of the Cheddar Curtain come over and help Schimmel? Give us the perspective.
Well, great question. So if you live in Wisconsin or you live anywhere and you care about important issues, you care about this race. If the radicals on the left dominate this court in a majority for what will be the next 3 to 4 years, if they're successful here, they're going to go through and they're going to abolish voter ID. You're going to see them work to raise taxes. You're going to watch them undermine law enforcement and undermine immigrations and customs enforcement, ICE. They'll go after school choice. There's questions as to what they'll do with the congressional maps and gerrymandering in the state of Wisconsin, where our Democratic governors who drew the current congressional maps might not be enough for a radical Supreme Court if we allow the left to win. And so the impact, not only in the state of Wisconsin, is there, but the impact is going to be felt nationally as this race is really a key bellwether for how we're doing, how President Trump is doing, and the Democrats are all in on trying to flip and maintain liberal control of the Supreme Court in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and we talked to Ron Johnson about this, but we're just still trying to wrap our minds around it because even though we're in Illinois, sort of, which is base camp for this identitarian insanity, we thought other places were more civilized. That's why so many Illinoisans are fleeing to places like Wisconsin. Tony Evers, I mean, just in terms, we were just talking about this before you joined us. Like, if you think that the identitarians that dominate the left have just sort of conceded defeat after November and are walking away, you'd be wrong. And we're getting a good dose of this actually from Wisconsin, including Evers with this, inseminated person redefinition of women or moms, I should say. I can't believe that has an audience outside of pockets of suburban Milwaukee and Madison.
Well, this is the challenge we face, and Governor Tony Evers in Wisconsin, our Democratic governor, is as far left and radical as J.B. Pritzker or Governor Walz in Minnesota. The only saving grace in Wisconsin is that we have Republicans in the state assembly and state senate who've been able to prevent the worst excesses of the Democratic governors that we see in the upper Midwest. And so you're right. Governor Tony Evers tried to delete the word woman and replace it with inseminated person. And I thought that was going to be the worst thing I saw this month until I listened to the song at the Bernie Sanders rally.
Yeah, right.
And so there's Governor Evers, and in comes Bernie Sanders and says, "Hold my beer." So what we see is but our ability to push back against the radical left. They'll take Wisconsin, with all due respect, to where Illinois is and to where Minnesota is. And what we want is to pivot from that and make sure that Wisconsin maintains itself really as in Indiana, a bastion of conservative hope, a bastion of growth in the area, in preventing ourselves from turning into the next radical left state that we continue to see be a threat in the upper Midwest.
Well, Fox News, one of the reporters there had said that Tony Evers probably didn't read through the entire bill and didn't see that they were changing the term mother to inseminated person. But I completely disagree. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I can't imagine any mom in Wisconsin that wants to be called inseminated person instead of a mother.
Well, 100%, and it should be noted that this language was in his budget bill, probably the most important piece of legislation the governor of the state of Wisconsin writes in any 2-year cycle. And so this bill was vetted by dozens and dozens of people, went through months of process work. It was not as if a junior staffer wrote the bill, threw it out there, and no one looked. This is probably the most important piece of legislation, and it really exemplifies how radical the Democrats have become, not only in my home state of Wisconsin, but really across the country. And you see it in language like this, where they want to delete the word mother and insert the word inseminated person. You see it at the Bernie Sanders rally that just came to Kenosha, where other Democratic members of Congress attended and probably applauded as this type of language was being used. You come to an event with me, Bryan Steil, we're going to say the pledge and sing the national anthem at my events. If you go to an event with Bernie Sanders and the radical left, you're going to have language that's being said that your radio station can't even play without at least 10 bleeps in 10 seconds.
Well, I mean, and on the Evers thing, I didn't read it, whatever. Well, he hasn't repudiated it. Everybody knows about it now, and nobody on the left is repudiating it, so that tells you everything you need to know. I wanted to get, we talked about it a bit earlier in the program, the curious case of Democrats on the Hill threatening to shut down the government. I thought shutting down the government was a constitutional crisis just a couple of months ago, and now it's something that they must do to prevent reducing government spending, I guess. Where do you see that CR that Speaker Johnson said could be up tomorrow?
Well, the entire spending process in Washington, D.C. is absolutely broken, and it has been for years and years. And what we're watching the Democrats do is say one thing, do another, nothing new there. We must maintain and keep the government open. That is a benefit, I think, to all of us. No one really wins when you shut your government down. At the end of the day, it actually costs you more, despite what people will try to pitch you. The answer here is to fix the entire spending process. And with President Trump in charge, with DOGE running aggressively, moving our country forward, we have a huge opportunity here to rewrite the entire spending process. I come from a manufacturing background, and if at the end of the day, if your product is garbage, you go back and fix the process. What we do in Washington, D.C., and we allow our federal government to do, is just continually produce garbage and never fix the process. So you got to keep your government open. I'm hopeful the CR can pass, and we can remove this from the list of things that need to be accomplished in D.C. to get this country back on track. That said, we also should take a darn hard look at the entire spending process in Washington to get things under control.
But I mean, okay. But with respect to the CR, I mean, I can't imagine even Tom Massey would oppose moving this forward onto, the real deal, which is the budgeting process, and as Speaker Johnson said, incorporating a accurate assessment of what DOGE has identified for spending reductions or eliminations. I mean, what Republican would be opposed to this, especially with the Democrats' posture?
But never let logic get in the way of understanding your elected members in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
I don't think anybody loves the CR to begin with. I don't love it either. It's just the best of the scenarios that are in front of us,
right.
And it sets up our ability to move a conservative agenda forward. And so hopefully we're able to get there. But in a narrow majority in the House, every vote matters. And we're going to be having these conversations today and tomorrow before the vote arrives.
Bryan Steil, rep for Wisconsin's First, just over the border there in Kenosha. And hopefully you'll get better acts come to town than you had this weekend. Bryan, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
They will not be performing at Summerfest. And the congressman joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
MyPillow is excited to announce that they're having the first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 30% on their brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one Mike has worn every day for 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get the 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And the best-selling standard MyPillow, just $14.98. To take advantage of the first ever mega sale, go to mypillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship has sailed because right now every order ships absolutely free. mypillow.com, promo code LIBERTY.